Hey guys, OJ here from MotorUnion, and today I'm going to go over using the flex box. If you saw our past video, you kind of showed us opening it up and going over kind of what was included in the box. And today I'm actually going to be tuning a car. I have this 2019 Range Rover Dynamic Sport here. It's the 5-liter supercharged. What the customer came to us for was looking for a touch more power, but he really wanted to get rid of the speed limiter. So what we're doing is we're going into the ECU and we're clearing all that out and giving him what he's looking for. So again, I'm going to go over how this tool works. There's a few little differences than some of the other tools we've used before, so I'll kind of highlight that real quick. First things first, I have already gone through the process of setting up the pins on the flex box, and that's the stuff that connects to the actual ECU. Ideally, it's probably best if you do this taking the ECU out of the car and setting it on a bench, hence the term bench flashing. However, this is going to be fine. We can access everything, and I don't really have to take the bolts out and do too much more. So first things first is you're going to plug in your USB to the flex unit. Now what that's going to allow you to do is actually hook up to Magic Motorsports' network and be able to get the information out you need to be able to pin out these cars. So the software will install a icon or something like that. We're going to click it, and it really just runs it through a browser-based setup. So it's going to open up your preferred web browser, and it's going to go to their site where basically the information runs off of. So this page is pretty important. This is where you're going to type in the car. So there's a lot of options they have. And the car, I'm going to just type in the car because sometimes if you give them too much information, it narrows it down and they might have it named as something else. So I'm going to type in Range Rover Sport. They have two options here. One is the SVR and one is the regular V8 supercharged. This is a 2017 or 2019. So the 2017 model is a little bit different. It went to a different protocol, so that's why we needed to use this box here in order to get into it. So you're going to go to this screen, click your car. In this case, it's the option code 517. We're going to highlight bench flashing, which is what we're doing. It's going to hook up to your box. It's going to communicate, and it's going to make sure everything's connected. Now, the screen I have here, it says, comes up to the instruction screen, which says connector manual. Now, when you click this, this is going to give you a printout or a screen telling you which pins that you need to interface with and communicate with. So that's how you're going to be able to hook it up. The nice thing about Flex's tool here is that a lot of their stuff is color-coded, so you know which pins to hit up on the corresponding box. I already went through the trouble of setting this up for the sake of time. So we're all set up. Once we're set up and we know it's all hooked up, I go to this next screen. If you notice, I haven't hooked up power yet. I did have a little issue with them. When I did the unboxing, I did not notice a 12-volt power supply. I believe they left that out on accident. So we'll be getting that power supply here shortly. Luckily, we have a lot of tuning computers in the shop that I'm able to use. So I was able to hook up the 12-volt 5 amps. It's a higher amperage source. If you try to read it with anything else, it will not hook up. It will not work right. So this is the important page. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to hit the button connect at the top of the page. When you hit that connect button, that is going to hook up here and let the computer program know that it's ready to communicate. So that's your initial way of checking if it worked. If it works, it's going to say the passcode is correct. And if you have that passcode screen where it came up, you know that it worked here. I actually just skipped a step, the important step, which is hooking up your 12-volt power supply. Like I said, I waited till the end of it last night and it seemed to work then. So right about now, I'm going to hook it up. You get a flashing white light here knowing that the power supply is there. You also get another white light here on the flex box itself. That lets you know it's receiving power from the 12-volt source. Now, pay attention to these lights here. And here's kind of what I noticed when we went through it yesterday, when it's going to work and when it's not. If you see the pins, the communication pins stay lit up, that means it's probably going to work and it's probably going to communicate. So if you notice just there, the communication pins stayed up lit longer. When I was having issues with my power source, I noticed that those lights would go out almost immediately. That was causing the issue. So on this screen, it says we have success. It's going to give you a few options here. The initial flash, the initial EEPROM reading, and the full backup. We don't need the EEPROM, we just need the flash here. So most of your tuning is usually going to be done pulling the flash off. Full backup is just in case you ever run into an issue with the ECU, you need to pull the information over. It's always kind of a good idea if you have the time to do the full backup. But in this case, we're not going to do it, we're doing the flash. I'm actually going to do the backup now, but typically you wouldn't. And this is going to take a few minutes, so I think we'll probably end up just cutting back in here in a second because this will take some time. But as you can see, all the lights are lit up. That means it's communicating. I have my screen here showing that the sectors are reading the information off of it. It's going back and forth. So that's all a good sign. That means this thing's working properly. So we'll give this a minute here and see what comes up. All right, so I've got the file. We're going to flash it back on here. It's pretty much just inverse of the start of this. You're going to want to connect. You're going to want to make sure that it says you're connected. You have the green checkbox. And then I'm going to go to initial flash for write. And it's going to ask me to choose the file. Okay, so I've got the file. I found the file, loaded it on there. As you can see, we got some pins lit up here. And it's beginning the writing phase. So this is obviously a very sensitive phase to go through. So just make sure that you don't knock anything out, hit the power supply, just in case anything happens. But you want to make sure, ideally this is best done on a bench, not as I'm doing this, but for the sake of time, this is how we set it up. All right, so we're all finished here. As you can see, all the lights are off. We know here it says operation finished, so we know we're good. Just to make sure that this stuff went well, I'm going to rehook the ECU back up. I'm going to fire it up. Usually if the car starts, you know that you had a successful read and a successful write. So go ahead and hook it back up, see if it fires up, and if it does, you're all good. So that is the Flex, using the Flex. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments. Hopefully you don't run into the issues we had with the power supply, but that being said, it's pretty easy. Just make sure you got the right power there and everything should work good. Thanks again.